Hello, I'm Aletya, putty a deacon me. Ever looked at one of these weather charts and thought, what in the name of Mother Teresa's shopping list is that spaghetti mess? Good, because I'm about to explain it. And by explain, I mean scream some truths and some absolute bollocks at you until you never look at a cloud the same again. Buckle up. These charts are supposed to be scientific roadmaps of the atmosphere. In reality, they're more like a government bingo card. Squiggly lines, crosses, symbols. Half of it means rain. The other half is secret signals to NATO. And they were first made by some Victorian bloke called Francis Galton, who also allegedly invented the first chemtrail patent and a machine that made tea taste of sadness. Where does the data come from? Weather stations measuring air pressure, temperature, and how much fluoride's in your breath. Balloons carrying radio sondes, which are basically spy gadgets with helium. Ships measuring wave height and sending the info back to GCHQ disguised as buoy data. Satellites, yeah, they're not just taking pretty cloud photos, mate. They're counting how many microfibers are in your lungs today. Aircraft gather atmospheric data while you're on holiday. That's why the seatbelt sign's always on, Ash, because they're running tests while you're stuck in 24B. All that's fed into supercomputers that are supposed to predict the weather, but mostly predict which supermarket you're going to. Right? See those wavy black lines? They're called isobars. ISO means same and bar means pressure, but I say it stands for I saw bullshit. They join up points of equal atmospheric oppression, the numbers, just how many litres of aluminium are about to be dumped on your postcode. High pressure, that's not nice weather, that's the lid on the chem kettle. Warm in summer, yes, but in winter it's just a Tupperware of misery. Low pressure, that's rising air. It's also where the government hides its drones. They call them depressions because that's how they make you feel. Air doesn't just go up and down, and it slides sideways too. That's science speak for the sky curves to avoid telling you the truth. In the north, it goes clockwise, in the south anti-clockwise. Yeah, sure it does. Bayes-Ballott's law says if you stand with your back to the wind in the northern hemisphere, low pressure's on your left. In my law, if you stand with your back to the wind anywhere in the UK, you'll probably get sprayed from above before you can say digital Brit card. Wind direction tells you what's coming. Westerlies bring Atlantic piss water. Easterlies bring dry, dusty air and nostalgia for a time when weather wasn't weaponized. Northerlies bring frozen bollocks. Southerlies bring Saharan vape clouds and mystery rashes. Mix and match depending on season and planetary alignment of Bill Gates's private jets. Isobars close together. Hold on to your nan and your bin lids. Isobars far apart. You're still getting shafted, but the wheelie bin won't move. Weather fronts, red lines with semicircles, blue lines with triangles. This all came from World War I, when some bloke said, this looks like a war zone, and they've been using the metaphor ever since. Warm front, a gentle cuddle before the storm. Cold front. Kicks the door in, steals your crisps and leaves puddles everywhere. That space between, the warm sector, should be called the damp sponge of disappointment. And cold air moves faster because it's dense. It bulldozes warm air up like a dodgy nightclub bouncer. Sometimes the cold front catches up with the warm one and lifts it off the surface. That's called an occlusion. It's basically a sky wedgie. They draw it purple to hide the bruise. Dots on the line, air rising, clouds forming, chemtrail infusion commencing, crosses, air sinking, clouds dying, frontogenesis, a new front being born, frontolysis, front dies. Aletya's law, front stays. Your weekend dies, upper fronts, ghost fronts of weather past. Don't worry about them. They're mostly there for decoration. Sometimes the fronts don't move. Quasi-stationary, two air masses having a staring contest. 3 days of rain, bad moods and memes about it. Troughs, black lines with no fancy bits. They're where the air is unstable and the Met Office can't be asked to explain. I say it's where the sky flushes the toilet. Convergence lines, two winds smash into each other, force air up, clouds form. The Met Office calls one through Wales, the Pembrokeshire Dangler. I call it proof that someone in the office is taking the piss. Red dashed lines. thickness lines. Show how fat the atmosphere is. Lower numbers, colder air. Higher numbers, warmer air. Look for the 528 line. That's the snow line. Above it may be snow. Below it may be sludge. Or maybe they're just drawing random numbers to keep you guessing. In late summer and early autumn, you might see tropical cyclones on the chart. That's when the Americans call us up and say, "Oi, one of our storm goblins is headed your way." Now, so we draw a little symbol on the map and pretend we know what it's going to do. If the circle's filled in, that means it's still a hurricane. In other words, it's a pissed-off sky blender spinning over the Atlantic with a name like Gary or Imelda. If the circle's empty, it's been downgraded. No longer scary, but still enough to cancel trains and justify ramping up your energy bill. They say it weakens when it hits colder water, but by then it's already caused panic buying, travel warnings, and 3 BBC specials about climate resilience. And once it gets close to the UK, it magically transforms into ex-tropical remnants, like an ex that still ruins your weekend out of pure spite. And finally, what does all this mean for you? Simple, it means they've built a system that lets them slap a terrifying name on a windy Tuesday, call it Storm Protocol Alpha 9, and shut down the whole north for 48 hours while they test the emergency comms system, synoptic charts, weather witchcraft. They look technical, so you don't question why the air smells like scorched printer ink and everyone's coughing by Wednesday. They throw terms like frontalisis and isobar spacing at you so you don't ask why your rainwater glows under UV light. You think you're reading a weather chart, but really you're reading a military permission slip to fuck with the sky while blaming carbon dioxide and diesel cars from 2003. That's it. I'm Aletya, Putya, Deakin me. This has been your totally unofficial, possibly illegal guide to synoptic charts. Remember, if the line's wavy, the cloud's man-made. If it's purple, it's personal. And if anyone from the Met Office tells you it's just a cold front, you ask them what the fuck's in it. Stay angry, stay observant, and stay well away from anyone holding a clipboard on a runway.